Tonight we're going to do, as part of our forgiveness as a spiritual practice, we're going to practice the loving kindness meditation, which is often called the Metta, M-E-T-T-A meditation, Metta Meditation. So that word Metta, M-E-T-T-A, is a Pali word for benevolence, friendship, affection, and kindness. So that's why it's called the loving kindness meditation, is because that's exactly how that word is kind of interpreted. It's a form of meditation that practices what they teach in Buddhism as the 4 qualities of love. So the 4 qualities of love are friendliness, which is Metta, M-E-T-T-A, appreciation / joy, which is called mudita, M-U-D-I-T-A, compassion, which is karuna, and equanimity, which is upekha, which is U-P-E-K-K-H-A, if you're interested in the Hindu word for that.
What's the last one?
It's equanimity, treating people equally, equanimity. U-P-E-K-K-H-A. When I was in seminary in Kansas City, my advisor was Reverend Robert Brummett, who's written a couple of books, one of them called Birthing Reality, and he is a self-proclaimed Christian Buddhist, which is very interesting to think about those two worlds in that term. But he considers himself a Christian Buddhist, and he has a satsang, so a gathering. He has a gathering every once a week, and it used to be on the campus there at Unity Village. Now they meet off-site at a Unity church. And what we would do is we would set for about an hour, actually. He'd do a little bit of teaching, but we would do a 30-minute we would do this meditation every single week for 30 minutes. And what I noticed is that some of the anger and resentment I had towards people began to melt. And I became softer and kinder and gentler with people through this practice. And it quickly became a way for me to kind of center myself. So when I'm really stressed and I'm really feeling like I don't have anything left to give, this is a meditation practice that has really kind of helped me center. And it's just really all about loving kindness. The Dhammapada, which is a Sanskrit teaching, says that hatred cannot coexist with love and kindness. It dissipates when supplanted with thoughts of love and compassion. And so that's the teaching around this loving kindness meditation, that love and hate cannot exist at the same time. And so if we are in love and compassion, then immediately resentment, anger, all of that has to fade away in the light of love. So the loving kindness meditation, or the Metta meditation, uses words, images, and feelings to evoke loving kindness and friendliness towards oneself and towards others. It was interesting as I was kind of doing some research around the Metta meditation. There have actually been studies on Tibetan monks on how this meditation affects the brain. And what they found were that Tibetan monks who had over 100,000 hours of this loving kindness meditation practice had secure neural circuits for self-understanding and empathy. Like their brain is wired for that. Their brain is wired for self-understanding and empathy. They displayed a higher degree of self-contentment and inner joy than non-meditators or non-practitioners of loving kindness meditation. Even when they compared them to other people that just meditate, they found that these monks had a higher level of contentment and joy. So something to be said for that. So let's kind of talk about the nuts and bolts of it, and then we're going to get a chance to experience it. So the Metta Meditation always starts with self. The Buddha said, unless we treat ourselves with love and compassion, we cannot reflect the same to others. It's kind of that, for a long time, I heard a long time ago in recovery, until I could love myself, it was impossible for me to truly love another human being. That I had to learn to love myself first. Once we start experiencing self-love and self-compassion for ourselves, then it is easier for us to extend that to other people. The interesting thing about the Metta Meditation is we're going to use some really traditional words, but you can actually, it's been shown that you can actually use any phrases. So whatever it is that Jack Canfield teaches, whatever it is that opens up your heart. So we recite phrases that express our intention to be loving, to be kind, to be compassionate. Jack Canfield describes it as planting the seeds of loving wishes over and over in our hearts. So planting seeds of loving wishes. So if you think about that and want to write your own script, it's really all about sending loving wishes to yourself, then to others, and then to people that we need to forgive. People that, someone laughed at me because I called someone a sacred friend the other day, and they were like, I'm not really sure what that means. And I said, the Dalai Lama teaches that, people come into our lives for a reason. Like, everyone is a teacher. Everyone that comes into your circle is a teacher, whether you know it or not. And there are people that come into our lives that are really easy to love. And you all know those people, right? They're just easy to love. Easy to get along with. They got a great demeanor. Easy to love. And he said there are also people who come into our lives that are very difficult to love. And he referenced the Japanese, who evicted him from his home and, caused him to go into exile, as well as all the other monks, and persecuted them and all of that. And he said, sacred friends, these are our sacred friends. People who are very difficult to love are our sacred friends because they are calling us to be more than we are. They are calling us to be more loving, to be more forgiving, to be more compassionate. They're calling us to be greater than we are. So they're actually doing us a sacred service. So a very interesting way to look at people who are irritating, or people who we have conflict with, as actually sacred friends, because they're giving us the opportunity to be more loving, to be more kind, to be more of who we really are. With each recitation of the phrases, we are expressing an intention. So each phrase is meant to extend genuine acceptance and goodwill. So the phrases, whatever phrases you use, should be extending acceptance and goodwill to the other people. It's suggested that you use blessings. So may you be well, may you be healthy, may you be at peace. I heard one today that was that I listened to that said, may you be strong, may you be safe. So it is things that you desire. And it's so funny because we learned this. I learned this in recovery. They used to have us, when you had a resentment against someone, you had to pray for them for 30 days. And you had to pray that they receive everything that you desired for yourself. I hated that. It used to make me so mad. And after 30 days, almost always I felt differently about the person. So loving kindness is like that. We want to ask that the other people in our lives be blessed with the things that we want to be blessed with. Jack Canfield teaches his group that the only rule in the loving kindness practice is to follow the way that most easily opens your heart. So whatever words open your heart so that love can flow in and love can flow out, that's the words that you use. So like one of the traditional ones is, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at ease and happy. That was the one that I learned. So this is another way for us to practice forgiveness by meditating and by sending loving kindness to those people who are difficult. So the practice starts with yourself, whatever phrases you come up with, and it's always 4. Now, I don't know why it's always 4. I can make some guesses. Metaphysically, the number 4 is what we call a foundational number. So it's that upon which we stand. So my guess is that you have 4 phrases because it creates an energetic foundation for good things to happen. But there's always four phrases involved. And you start with yourself, and then you think of someone who loves you unconditionally, someone who's truly cared for you, someone that you have experienced love from, and you call them to mind, and you say the 4 phrases. And then you extend that out to your friends. So other people in your circle that you want to bless. And then you extend that out further to your community, to the girl in the grocery store, to the guy who jogs through the parking lot of the church. And then when you've cultivated all this loving kindness in yourself, then you bring to mind someone that you're having difficulty with, someone that you're having trouble forgiving, somebody who is, as an Australian friend of mine used to say, sand in your swimmers. So someone who's like sand in your swimmers. And you call them to mind, and I know what's been helpful for me is to try to see them as a child, to try to imagine in my mind's eye what they looked like as a child. Because it's really hard to be angry with a child. And then you extend that loving kindness to that person who is your sacred friend. And then you always end the meditation by sending loving kindness to the world, like to all beings, to all living beings, which includes the earth and all of its inhabitants. Any questions about the practice? So I'm going to share my screen with you and give you a chance to experience the loving kindness.